Legends of Barovia, Session 1, The Gates of Barovia. Let's introduce our intrepid adventurers. Two of our members are from the Order of the Dragon. Herjann, also known as the Dog Knight, a Paladin, and his trusted friend, Fiannos, a halfling cleric. They're looking for their master, Lord Batten, who had disappeared on a quest in search for the fabled Sunsword. He is last seen in the small village of Wormwood. The Bloodhunter brothers, Erzan and Ervan, their father, suffering from a family curse of lycanthropy, has left in search for a secret order that could tame the beast within. The brothers had received a message. Their father had found the secret order. That was many months ago. They traveled towards the village of Wormwood on their road to search for their father. Ileanys, a young warlock, sent on a quest by his master to find and destroy the power of an evil mage who had been hunting the warlocks for centuries. Ileanys also holds a secret of his true identity. Venturing, he stops in the village of Wormwood for an evening of rest from the cold and food to warm him. Our last adventurer is Khyraezul, a young druid whose father, a trader and collector of rare antiquities, had left in search of a bottle of rare wine near a village of Khyraezul, but he has not returned. Kai has arranged a meeting with a Vistani gypsy who may know of his father's whereabouts. Our story begins in a tavern on the outskirts of a small village of Wormwood, the Bear and Bow Tavern. Our Paladin and Cleric have arrived, settled in, and headed downstairs to enjoy some venison stew and a mug of ale, discussing their plans to find their Lord Batten. Just as they prepare to enjoy their meal, two elves, dressed in leather armor, descend the stairs into the tavern. The first thought that crossed their mind, Bloodhunters, the Armaker. The Armaker clan of Bloodhunters are well known among the Holy Order of the Dragon. To say there is a tense rivalry between the Order of the Dragon and the Armaker clan is an understatement. The Armakers are Bloodhunters, mercenaries for hire, being paid to hunt and kill the various creatures for the courts and noble houses. The Order of the Dragon is one of honor and duty. They are the protectors of the realm, and frown upon those who seek fortune in killing. True, they both respect the skills of one another. It is their morals and philosophy that are at odds. Erzan, never one to shy away from confrontation, decides to approach the two members of the Order of the Dragon and introduce himself. Fiannos, out of respect, welcomes the Bloodhunters to join them for dinner. They comment on the odd occurrence to find both the Armaker Bloodhunters and the members of the Order of the Dragon in a tavern in an all but forgotten village. Clearly, they are both there for reasons which they are reluctant to share any details. Barlow, the innkeeper, delivers the ale and venison stew and comments on the odd coincidence. For just a few short months ago, at this very table, a paladin knight of the Order of the Dragon and an elf with long white hair, dressed in leather armor, enjoyed ale and venison stew. What are the odds? The innkeeper cannot remember ever having the privilege of serving the Order of the Dragon, and now, having three of them stay at the inn in as many months, surely he must be blessed. The information certainly weighs on our party, and they began to share their stories. Herjann and Fiannos are looking for their master, Lord Batten, who had stayed here at the inn. However, they do not share that their master was on a quest for the fabled Sunsword. The Armaker brothers share that their father had been traveling in these parts, and they arrived to meet with him. They too do not share that their father is cursed with lycanthropy, and searching for a secret order. As their tension eases, another guest descends from the upstairs room. Immediately, Barlow, the innkeeper, fawns over this guest, loudly enough for the others to hear. Master Travari, I've reserved a table for you by the fire. It's been such a long time. You were disappointed the last time you stayed here with your father. How is your father? Will he be joining you? Are you here to trade for the Wormwood hops? The young guest is escorted to the table and informs the innkeeper that he is here for a meeting with a Vistani named Lingari. The innkeeper nods and says that he will make sure that they are not disturbed. Overhearing this conversation between the innkeeper and this young Master Travari, Erzan, Armaker, decides to introduce himself. Perhaps this person may have some information that would be deemed useful. In a short, friendly conversation, Erzan invites Master Tavari to join them for the dinner. They quickly learn that Master Tavari's first name is Kai. They begin some small talk and sharing some information they feel comfortable with sharing. Kai informs them he may have to excuse himself early, as he has a planned meeting that evening. The party feels a cold draft as the door of the tavern opens. A hooded figure enters, and with them, the feeling of darkness. Fiannos whispers to Herjann, "There's more to this hooded figure that appears. I feel darkness, perhaps dark magic." The Amaker brothers also notice the room filled with a feeling of darkness. The few village folk shudder and do not gaze upon this strange figure at the bar. "Master, will you be staying with us this evening?" Innkeeper Barlow asks the stranger, clearly not comfortable with his presence. The hooded figure merely nods. Just then, a heavy-set man in colorful clothes approaches the bar and begins speaking with the innkeeper. The barkeeper approaches the party and notifies Kai that a guest has arrived to speak with him. Kai excuses himself and approaches the bar. It's Lingari, the Vistani. The conversation is brief. Kai is looking for his father, who has met the Vistani gypsies to take his father to the town of Khyraezul in search of a rare wine. Lingari says that he had met with his father, and it was Lingari himself who had introduced his father to the Vistani. Lingari is unaware that anything has happened and assumes that his father is well and is puzzled why his father has not returned. Kai requests if Lingari can lead him to the town of Khyraezul. Kari says that he is unable to take him that far, but can take him as far as the gates of Barovia, where he has a planned exchange with the same Vistani who he introduced to his father. Lingari has traded hops from Winterwood for the wines of Barovia, and with the Vistani have a scheduled meeting to trade tomorrow, and Kai is welcome to join. Kai agrees, and Lingari says he will meet early in the morning, and it's a full-day ride to the gate. The hooded figure overhears the discussion and spies Kai closely, recognizing Kai is a druid. The hooded figure had a dream to find and follow the druid, that the druid would guide him. To find the druid in a village and tavern is rare indeed. Kai must be the druid he is to find. The hooded figure notices the emblem on the cloaks of the Paladin and Cleric, the Order of the Dragon. It was centuries ago, during the Great War, that the Order of the Dragon had purged and hunted the magic users, beheading them and burning their bodies. For centuries, warlocks avoided the towns and cities of the realm under the protection of the Order of the Dragon. The hooded figure had never seen a member of the Order, and had only heard the horror stories of the Purge. However, that was centuries ago. If he is to find the evil mage and destroy his power, he must seek out the aid of the druid. The hooded figure carefully approaches the table and asks Kai if he's a druid, and why he had come to Wormwood. Kai is clearly taken aback, but invites the new stranger to dine with them. There's clearly tension at the table as the Paladin and Cleric carefully watch the hooded stranger. The Cleric and Paladin attempt to detect magic very subtly at the table. They find that the stranger possesses some very powerful dark magic, but they have never sensed something like this before. The Order of the Dragon has not seen any warlocks for over a century since the ending of the Great Purge. For warlocks have thought to have all died or fled. Could this be a warlock? The new stranger seems friendly enough, quiet and non-threatening. He introduces himself merely as Ileanys, and that he is in search of a druid that is to help guide him on a quest. Kai is clearly confused and does not know what to make of this. The stranger shares with them that he had a dream of an elderly woman who spoke to him to find a druid, and says he woke with a card on his chest. The diviner. He reaches into his cloak and carefully places the card on the table. A silence falls over the party, for each of them slowly reveals the same card inlaid on the table. They've all had similar dreams, and all received the same card. For this is no chance meeting. A force has brought them together for a reason. It is getting late, and Kai shares that Lingari will arrive in the morning to take them to the gates to meet with the Vistani who guided his father to the town of Khyraezul. The party decides that they all should travel with Kai. The next morning, Lingari awaits for Kai in the tavern. Kai arrives and informs him that his friends would like to join him on the way to the gates of Barovia. Initially, Lingari is hesitant, but agrees that the party agrees to help him at the exchange to unload the hops and load the wine onto his wagon, as it's a heavy task, and clearly Lingari has seen healthier days. The party agrees and heads off towards the gates of Barovia. On the way, they question Lingari, for is he not also Vistani? Lingari shares that he is, by blood, but he's no longer welcome. He's trying to earn back favor because he married outside of the Vistani clan. He's trading the hops for wine in order to hopefully be accepted back among the Vistani and wishes to return to Barovia, where he is currently not welcome. He's been away for over 10 years, and his wife had recently passed away, and his only real family are the Vistani. He has grown tired and wishes to return and live the rest of his days among his kinfolk. They arrive early in the evening at the gates, but the Vistani have not arrived. Lingari tells the party that often he is early and the trip for the Vistani is a long one. They are frequently a day or two late. He tells the party he's going to make camp and wait for them, but they are free to stay with him or return back to Wormwood. The party decides to stay and set up watch. Lingari assures them that other than a stray wild animal who may wander into camp, it's safe and he's camped here many times before. The Armaker brothers decide to stand watch. Erzan stands the first uneventful watch and is relieved by his brother Ervan. An hour into Ervan's watch, he hears some animals. It sounds like wolves, but he can't be sure. He ventures a short distance from camp and hears the wolves. Concerned, he returns and wakes his brother Erzan. They decide to cross the road and determine if these animals are a threat. Searching in the nearby woods, they hear the wild animals and determine that they are wolves. Further investigation, they see multiple eyes in the darkness watching them, nocturnal beasts, wolves of some type, and could be a threat. They return to camp to wake the party and alert them of a pack of wild animals nearby. When they attempt to wake Lingari, they realize he's dead. His throat has been slit. They panic and wake the others, and the other members of the party find their weapons are missing. Initially, they all began to suspect one another. Who killed Lingari? Who took their weapons? And why did the Armaker brothers leave camp? But there is no time to speculate. The wolves descend upon the party, scaring the horses who bolt back towards the town of Wormwood. With only the Armaker brothers armed, they attempt to fend off the wolves and are initially successful, but realize that there are far more of them, and they are being encircled. While they can easily be dispatched one by one, the danger in wolves lies in the pack. They decide to retreat west towards the gates of Barovia. Perhaps the old gates can be closed behind them and secure their retreat. There's no time to care for the body of Lingari or search for their weapons, and the party dashes for the gates with the wolves in hot pursuit. Once through the gate on its own slams closed behind them. While protecting them from the wolves, the party wonders if perhaps something more sinister lies ahead. The road is muddy, and there's a sprinkle of light rain. It's cold, and the party is getting wet. A mist begins to form. They travel an hour down the road and find a small estate, a manor. There's a fire lit and smoke coming from the chimney. Cold, wet, hungry, tired, and with limited weapons, they head to the estate in search of shelter. The door is unlocked, and they call out for anyone home. Hearing no answer, they enter the foyer and notice a portrait on the wall. Count Lugosi. This must be his home. In the main hall, there's a fire, and Herjann, the Paladin, notices a longsword above the mantel and retrieves it. He'll return it, but for now, a weapon in hand provides a far better chance of survival. In the coat closet, Erzan finds a walking cane with a raven skull handle. A quick twist, and he notices the cane is actually a sheath for a rapier within. Erzan takes his fancy new find for himself. They venture into the dining room, and the table is set with silver and crystal, as if waiting for a dinner with guests. However, upon further investigation, a light dust covers everything. It seems it has been left for a couple of months at least. In the southern room, they find a den with 3 stuffed wolves, and a fire blazes in the hearth. They notice 3 crossbows and bolts in a cabinet, but it's locked and decide to leave them. This is not their home, and they do not wish to be stealing. Somebody must be here to keep these fires lit. Inspecting the kitchen, they find it's well stocked. The party decides to ascend the second floor. Perhaps because it's late, the Count and others are asleep. The hall is flanked with suits of armor with wolf's helms and spears. The armor is incomplete and for decoration, but the spear and wolf helms are usable. Erzan decides to take one of the wolf helms. They enter the door to the north and find a private library. A fire warms the room. The party searches the desk and finds a key and a letter, which reads, Count Lugosi, I'm looking forward to my visit with you. It's been some time, and I'm eager to meet with Elizabeth and to learn that she is with child. I'm sorry to hear that you are not well, and I hope my services can be helpful to Elizabeth and yourself. Your friend, Dr. Edward Fletching. Meanwhile, Kai is studying the books and finds an interesting book that stands out among the rest. As he retrieves the book, he hears a click, and a secret door opens, revealing a room behind. Entering the secret room, he spots an open chest, what appears to be the remains of a thief in leather armor. A closer inspection reveals the thief had triggered a poison dart trap, and several traps had penetrated the armor. The smell of the decaying corpse is rather overpowering, but Kai searches the chest to find a will, deeds, 3 scrolls, some books, and also a letter addressed to Count Lugosi, which reads, Count Lugosi, you have taken what does not belong to you and have meddled in the dark arts of which you know nothing. You may believe that you have escaped the curse, but this is only temporary. My servants will find you and return what does not belong to you. Return now, bring back the gem, and I will allow you to live in Barovia for eternity. If you do not, a darkness will fall upon you and those you love, and you will forever be in darkness. Your lord and master, Strahd von Zarovich. The party, clearly tired and wishing to rest before proceeding, they decide to hold up in the library, close and bar the door, and look forward to a much-needed rest. This is end of Session 1, The Gates of Barovia,